who paved our way. In every single chapter, we're here to stay. Breaking down plays.
Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. How's everything going? And welcome to the Chasing the Highlights podcast. My name is Lonnie Washington, and I'm here with Tony Robinson. I'm in Arizona. He's in Texas. How's it going, Tony?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. This afternoon, it's not as hot as it's been the last couple of days in Arizona. It's been 110 degrees. Crazy. It's only May. So that's kind of wild. I know Texas can get hot too, but there's nothing like this Arizona fire, man. Nothing like it.
Definitely.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about the NBA today and the playoffs and stuff. The NFL schedule comes out this week, tomorrow night to be exact. Tomorrow night to be exact.
I have background noise. That's why I muted it.
Oh, okay, bet. Okay, I saw you muted. Okay, yeah. So tomorrow night to be exact, and so we're gonna start with the NFL first because the NBA has a little bit more detailed topics. So I heard a little birdie told me, all right, saw out there somewhere in the hemisphere of the of social media. I saw that the Cleveland Browns have the easiest schedule this year in the NFL. So here we go. I'm thinking to myself, okay, when I saw this report come out this morning, and we don't know what the actual schedule is yet because it hasn't come out. They do have the international games and stuff that's come out. I'm not sure if Cleveland. I think you guys might have an international game, Tony. You guys got an international game yet? So I think I did see some international game for Tony. But this is interesting. So now you have the quarterback controversy in Cleveland, where you have Deshaun Watson against Shedeur Sanders and who knows, whoever else can enter this mix, because I think it's really wide open. But you have a Deshaun Watson who is kind of like a sixth-year senior in college football right now. I mean, he's 30 years old, still young as far as NFL standards are, had a lot of injuries and things of this nature. So now you have the Cleveland Browns that have the easiest schedule in the NFL. So are you going to hand the keys off to your one-time superstar quarterback that can get to see if he can possibly get back to that where he was back in Houston or somewhere close to it and try to get off to a good start with an easy schedule? Or you're going to give it to an inexperienced Shedeur Sanders, who I don't think is going to win this job anyway, Tony. I think that, Deshaun Watson, he's the experienced guy. He's the one you paid $230+ million to, guaranteed, one of the craziest NFL contracts in history. So now you have the Cleveland Browns with the easiest schedule. Does this change how you feel about who should start this season for the Cleveland Browns, looking at this easiest schedule thing?
Not really. We talked about this earlier, but I don't see. The only way I feel like Watson should start is if he's actually fully back. There's some rumbling by the scuttlebutt talking about he's back. Somebody I forgot who it was, but they said they were walking their dog in Tennessee, and he was like, he talked to Schwartz,
the old defensive coordinator from the Browns,
talking to the old defensive coordinator. He was like, yeah, Deshaun is back. Pretty much, he's like, he's really, really back. So, if this is true, I heard the story before. I've been a Browns fan for 46 years. We talk about this every single time. Like I've seen this picture before, but we'll see, because this is a new scheme. If it's a new scheme and he has he doesn't have the Stefanski offensive scheme that's very vanilla or whatever, but if they open it up like I know they will with the Monken offense, I feel like he has the edge. Like you've been saying this too.
Okay.
I'm just holding on to Shedeur because I know he's the future. But if we have to play Watson, I think now is the only time he'll get to play. Like you said, we talked about this before. Like this is a prove it or lose it type of deal right here. Like this is your last chance to like put on tape like that you can still play this game of football at a high level. So, but I feel like the old offensive scheme that Stefanski had kind of suppressed him. That's the reason why he played so bad, because you saw all the other quarterbacks that came after him. They didn't fare well. So I think that if Watson is the quarterback, I'm all for it because I'm 100% Browns fan. So I'm not a Shador truther. I'm a Browns fan first before I like Shador. Shador is my favorite quarterback in our room right now, but I know he's the future. So that's the way I look at it.
So it sounds like from our last podcast, multiple podcasts, like going back, like multiple podcasts, you're starting to come around to the maybe not realization that it's possible. Well, you're coming around to the realization that it's possible that Deshaun Watson could win this job. And now seeing the easiest schedule, you're kind of conceding that, well, maybe we still need to see that Watson, what Watson can do before we totally throw him out throw out the baby with the bathwater and put Shador totally in from day one. So that's what it sounds like to me, that you're kind of like moving a little bit towards the center versus totally to the left of where you were a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I can see both sides though. I can see both. I mean, for me, like I said before, I rather with the easier schedule. This is the perfect time to push Shador in too. So it's like it's either way, but I know we want to get off on the right foot. If we want to, I don't know. We don't know yet because they haven't been inside all together, competing for the job yet. So it's like that's where it's all speculation from here. So we don't know what can happen during training camp and stuff like that. So it can all change. You just never know. So
yeah. So I wanted to get that out of the way and get your take on that because it's a important development. For all your followers and stuff that follow you for the Cleveland Browns, I wanted to say that the easiest schedule out there belongs to the Cleveland Browns. You know what? It's going to be fun this year, making fun of you guys in Cleveland when if you guys with Monken and the quarterback things that you guys got going on and having an easier schedule come mid-season or 6 weeks into the season, if this thing ain't working out with any of your quarterbacks and the coaching bad and the Cleveland Browns look bad with all of the big time draft picks you guys got. And I mean, you guys are up there with one of the top drafts that you've had in many, many years. And some people say this was a historic draft for you guys. If you guys, like I'm talking about just running and just slip on mud and pancake your face right in the mud, I'm just gonna go in on you guys because it's not going to be good because everything is kind of set up for the Cleveland Browns to do really, really good this year.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. Bet. Now, you know what? I don't know what the odds are, but you need to
put some money on that.
Bet first on making the playoffs. Okay, don't just throw $100 in the Super Bowl. Bet first on making the playoffs and then work your way up to the Super Bowl. But I think the NFC North is wide open, so your statement might not necessarily be false. Right, so we don't know.
You got to win our division first. I mean,
you got to win your division first. So that's cool. So yeah, so that brings us. So now we're just gonna move right on into the NBA, and we're gonna start talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers first. I mean, Cleveland Cavaliers have game 2 tonight. We've seen that if you've been watching the playoffs, we've seen what's been happening over the last couple of days. With the Spurs winning the last couple of games when beyond going off last night. We'll go over that in a minute. But we want to get to the series now with the Pistons because this, it's a tie series now. And couple last week's podcast, we were talking about, man, where James Harden at? We were talking about what's going on with this guy. This guy fades away in the playoffs, and he, a game 2, whether it was a game 2 or game 3, he went, game 3, down the stretch, James Harden, couple of step back threes, driving to the bucket, hitting the mid range, dishing off, doing all the things that we expected him to do when he, when you guys got him for the Cavaliers, right? So, we started to see him and he's just kind of acting like, nah, man, I didn't hear no noise. That's bullcrap. Because you heard the noise, you responded, and that's how a guy that's 37 years old, looking for his first title and looking to be on a team like Cleveland, making the kind of money you're making, contributing to that in the same backcourt of what Donovan Mitchell's been doing the last couple of games. That's what we expected from James Harden. So we got game 5 tonight. And so what do you think happens tonight in game 5 now that we've seen, Donovan Mitchell kind of put his cape on and have 40 points in the second half of, game 4. and he was just phenomenal. He didn't have anything going on in the first half of that game. James Harden took over, kind of got you guys to halftime. Pistons came back, and then all of a sudden, coming out of the gate in Game 4, Donovan Mitchell showed us who he really was. And if you guys play that way, my friend, if both of these guys play the way that they've been playing the last 2 games, you guys have a serious shot on going to the conference finals.
Oh, I already got us penciled in. I got us going to the final because I put a bet on, like I told you a couple podcasts ago.
I don't know, man.
Because Boston's gone now. Boston's gone, and we play. You weren't saying the Knicks until the Boston Celtics lost. Now you're saying the Knicks, but nobody was talking about the Knicks until now. So just so you know that.
No. We've been talking about the Knicks the whole playoffs.
I'm talking about when I first said it. You were saying Boston Celtics, and now Boston's gone. Like Knicks, and we played the Knicks very well in season and playoffs. So we'll see. But I'm gonna get to your question. What we were talking about. The last game, I was so pissed. We talked about this on our call. Like I was so mad because I saw Donovan Mitchell 1-7. We're down. He went 1 for 7, and we're down by 6 points at halftime. And I was like, dude, this dude got to step up. And I did a post about it on TikTok, and I was like, he must have heard what I said because he rung off like 21 points in the third quarter, like quick, like back-to-back shots. So.
Well, what did he do at halftime? What did he smell at halftime to make him come out like that? Because he was wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, and full of energy, and he was just playing like we've seen some games in Utah. This is the reason why y'all went and got him from Utah, because he played like that in a couple of playoffs.
Well, it was good that Harding pretty much held it down for the first half, but I think maybe when he got a hug from Coco, girl, he went and got some love and settled down, whatever. Then he was ready. So but all the other guys stepped up too. It was they played their role and stuff like that. And I feel like you said, if they keep doing the same thing, this game right here tonight is the game we have to have. We can't go to 7 because game 7 is in Detroit. We have to take this game here to just keep the momentum going. Take this game and then win at home in 6. I had us in 6 in the first place, but so we'll see. I mean,
the Pistons are going to be tough to beat at home.
Tonight is going to be tough to beat them. So they're a really good team. Pistons, they always play us hard, and they're the number 1 seed. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they've been dominant all season, and this is what they do. They're like the Detroit basketball. They're bringing that back now with the all the guys sitting on the sidelines, supporting them. So yeah.
Yeah, and just for context, Donovan Mitchell had 33 points. He's been averaging 33 points, almost 6.5 rebounds and 3 assists over the last 4 games, and now the series is tied 2-2. He had a 43-point second half in last game in Game 4, and he had 39 points of those, in the second half. I mean, so that was pretty historic too. But to see him go off on like that, it was just like he flipped the switch. And again, whatever he did at halftime, he needed to do that at the beginning of the game, because, if he does that, gosh, who knows what that point total can be. And he was unstoppable. I think they found something with him, just being aggressive, going one-on-one. He was showing all kinds of moves. He did like a little windmill thing in the lane and then shot the ball up. I'm like, bro, what's going on? So he is that dude. And I think sometimes, guys, certain times that guys decide that they're going to finally flip their switch, and that's what he did.
And maybe they had a thing because you see him and Harden always talking. Maybe Mitchell said, "Okay, this is you take over the first half. I'm coming out full board second half, or whatever." I know they don't do that, but it's like it seemed like that's what happened because he held it down. Harden held it down for the first half, and Mitchell just took it over in the second half. So,
well, notice that if Harden reduces his turnovers, right? This is a game of turnovers. If Harden reduces his turnovers, which he has the last couple of games, 24 points, 11 assists performance in Game 4. After a challenging 3 for 13 and only 10 points shooting in Game 2, he's flipped that switch to. He's trying to say that, guys, I didn't hear no noise, but I am that dude. He is one of the most prolific scorers in NBA history that don't have a championship.
Yeah, I've been saying that because I said that as long as he stays under 3 turnovers a game, we can win the game. Because I think when they saw those turnovers he was having, the last game he had like 7 turnovers. I feel like they took the pressure off of him and let's slow it down and like let's let somebody else bring it up sometimes. I don't know what they did, but it seemed like they fixed something because he's not turning the ball over, or he just went back to the tool shed and like, okay, what do I have to do to not turn the ball over? Don't force passes, don't do this, don't do that, and just take my shot. If he just takes his shot, we can live with him. If he misses, we can live with that, but we can't live with turnovers.
Yeah, the turnovers, because it leads to points on the other side,
Yeah.
and plus it seemed like it gets him out of rhythm when he turns the ball over too. So it's not good for him, and then it gives points up to the other team. And I think Detroit, the place is going to be cracking tonight over there in Detroit, and this is a pivotal game. I think if Detroit wins this game tonight, be careful. Because
we about to let them know. We about to let them know.
Yeah, you guys, tonight's going to be a crazy game. I'm excited for you know what? This is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you guys being competitive, and people forget the Pistons are number 1 seed, right?
Yeah.
They're number 1 seed. They forgot because Orlando gave them some trouble. People forgot about them. Then now they were talking about the Celtics. Now the Celtics are gone. Now they're talking about the Knicks, but they forgot about the Pistons. And they can't forget about the Pistons. And tonight, whoever wins this game tonight, I think, going to win the series.
But I also told you that if we had Harden from the beginning of the season, not getting him when we got him, we would probably be the 1 or 2 seed. So it's like that's the thing. We're like, they're the number 1 seed for the season, but it seemed like we came up to that level of play once we had Harden when we acquired him, because everybody thinks he's the ball hog, whatever, but he knows how to play with certain players, and we have those pieces that he likes to play with, the lobs to the basket, different things like that. And he has another dog on his right, and his
dog.
So
he a dog. I mean, the question is whether the pit bull shows up like it has the last couple of games, or the Chihuahua show up that was in game 1 or 2. That's the that depends what kind of dog he is right there. That's going to determine what kind of if y'all win or lose. If he's that pit bull the last couple of games, y'all gonna win. If he's that little Chihuahua game 1 and 2, Pistons gonna win. We'll see. We're gonna, and it's kind of funny to see Bickerstaff go from your former coach for the Cavs go into Cleveland and get a couple of losses. To see him on the different sideline is kind of crazy, but it all, it's all for a circle now.
He want that win. He want the win so bad because they has Karis LeVert too. They play for the Cavs too, so they both coming at us and stuff like that. So, and I feel like he got, I don't know what the behind the scenes was, but I feel like he shouldn't have been fired because he created the culture that we have right now. He was the one that created it.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like it's almost like the Golden State Warriors thing with Kerr taking over from Mark Jackson. I'm not going to go too far with that.
I don't see you guys. I don't see you. But you know what? I'm just going to go into this real quick. What does success look like for the Cleveland Cavaliers this year? Does success look like going to the conference finals and losing? Would you say it was a successful season if that happens? If they lose this series with the Pistons, would you say it was still a successful season, or did they have to get all the way to the conference finals before you think it was a success? So what does success really look like for the Cleveland Cavaliers this season anyway?
For me, I feel like success would be making it to the finals. But obviously, you want to win a championship, right? But
that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Well, let's just let me finish. This is making it to the finals. That's the first level. Championship is the top level, of course. But I think if we at least make it to the finals, that's the success for me. But I'm sure the players, they obviously want to win a championship. But you don't go out and get a James Harden to just be mediocre, just to make it to the finals, or just or make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You're trying to win. Like this is he's not coming here to go to just the finals or to just the Eastern Conference Finals. He wants to win a championship because he found the team that actually has the opportunity to win, has the pieces around him that can support him. Other places he had to deal with injuries, other players being injured, not there, like Kawhi Leonard and all of them not being there and stuff like that. And he was like, man, I'm tired of this. I need a team around me. So you go out and get it Harden to win championships. You don't go, even though he hasn't won one, to add that piece to our team, it's kind of championship or bust. I mean, at the end of the day, because when you don't trade the people, you don't make these trades to get this guy, and he's at the end, almost at the end of his career. I don't know how long he's going to play. You know, he has to win right now. So,
yep. Oh well, you know, we'll come back to it. We'll circle back around, and Cleveland might pop up into one of our other segments that's coming up later in the show. So you know, we did have OKC complete the sweep of the Lakers despite the Lakers' best efforts. And I remember talking to you yesterday about this, Tony. Is that we saw an incredible game that we saw probably one of the best games the Lakers could have played all season without a Luka Doncic on this team, and still injured. But we saw Rui Hachimura, and over 24 points. We saw LeBron James do his thing. He's good for at least 25 a night. So we saw Reeves, right, 20 plus points and things like that. And so we still saw, and late in that game, they should have won that game down the stretch. They had a couple of things that a lot of people are going to question about, who was in the game and things in the last, 30 seconds of that game when they needed a 3-point shot. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I want to talk about. OKC took the Lakers' best shot. And I said that if the Lakers had played any other team besides OKC, they would have won that night. But OKC is just that good. They stay attached. They don't let you get to, if they don't let you get more than a 10-point lead, they can flip a switch. They got bench players that are just emerging, and they don't even have Williams. Williams is still injured, and they've got these role players that's coming in, and then they get the number 12 overall pick. They get a lottery pick this year too. Think about that. Think about what I just said. The lottery draft just happened, and they got a number 12 pick. As good as they are, right? So they took the Lakers' best shot. And the Lakers got swept. Now we're talking about LeBron James. He got swept. This is the 4th time in his career that he got swept. So despite the best efforts, the Lakers get ousted from the playoffs. So what did you think about how everything got handled down the stretch in this final game as you were watching that game? Because I know you stayed up late, Central Time to watch this game.
Oh yeah, I stayed up late to see what I saw from the coaching job. I was like, what are we doing, JJ Redick? You take Hachimura was on a heater. He was on a heater and went 4 for 6 from 3, whatever it was. And you take him out to put this. I'm not gonna say what I said on the call, but you put these certain players in that has been sitting the whole game, wasn't really shooting, didn't even play the whole game, to put them in over Hachimura that was been balling.
Yeah,
it was a pivotal moment because they were still, I don't know if they were winning at that time or they were up.
Well, they were down, I think by a couple points. I think they were down by 2 or 3.
Okay, they're down by 2. They put these guys in and they didn't do nothing from it. Nothing came out of it. It was so bad. And I was like, what are we doing here? But I don't know what's going on the backside. I know, I don't think LeBron said anything like that to put all these other guys in when Hachimura's on the heater. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think LeBron would say anything like that because you don't bring Cleveland in. They hadn't even played all game. But the main issue I feel still to now after we spoke, Ayton is the issue. Ayton is he didn't show up. He's 6 points, 3 rebounds. Come on, man, you getting paid $8 million a year. And they brought you there to be that big, and you got to be able to rebound and do all this other stuff. Everybody else stepped up. LeBron did his thing, Hachimura, Reeves did his thing, and Hayes, the backup center, came in and got 18 points.
Yeah, that was big. And what the other question is, the other thing is that go back into you're talking about Aiden in game 3, they were showing video of JJ Redick saying to one of his assistants, what are we doing? I can't keep Aiden. I can't keep Ayton in the game. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that was really crazy to see him actually say that.
That's a part of the reason why Phoenix got rid of him, because he's not that guy. When he got drafted, we thought he was going to be that guy, but it's put him in an NBA scenario. It's I can't trust this dude. And they, like they showed, I saw a meme of, you know how LeBron he always gives somebody that look when they about to get cut, or like he gave Dwayne Wade, because when he knew Dwayne Wade was at the end of his career, because they showed that he looks at them like this, like, and he gave Aiden the look when they lost this last game, and he was just like looking at him because Aiden was saying something on the sideline, like, I don't know if he's making excuses. He was just like, LeBron was just like, and just
I think LeBron was lobbying for him to come to LA, right?
Yeah.
So I think he was lobbying for Aiden to come to LA. Thought that maybe he could have a little positive influence in his. He's not a Kwame Brown. Don't get me wrong. He's not a Kwame Brown.
No, he's better than that.
Yeah, but he's not a Kwame Brown. And Aiden is not a scrub either. I don't think he's a scrub. And but he plays small. He doesn't play big. It's more here. Because they kicked them out of Portland. Portland, they said, you know what, get the hell out of here. We're sitting in LA.
Yeah, we see his potential. Like, and that's I tell my son this. I can't want it more than you. Yes. I see your potential, but if that's the same thing LeBron probably saw. I can see the potential. I can see how he can fit into this team, because he can shoot the jump. He can do a lot of different things that I like, but I can't do it for him.
Right.
Like, I can't have somebody just watching me because they in awe of what I do. You have to go out and do the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because that's what I expect. So that's what LeBron is thinking that way. Like, dude, I brought you in here and like you making me look bad. Like, I already got my son here.
Yes. So I thought that and I also thought that it shows how just good that OKC is. I mean, because we haven't talked enough about Marcus Smart, right? Marcus Smart, how he held SGA down, or somewhat contained a little bit, right? I think Marcus Smart is somebody that you might want to bring back if you're the Lakers, because he provides that leadership. He has a certain pedigree about him. He was a defensive player of the year at one point, right? And then he's just been an unbelievable player his whole career. But SGA struggled in this series. And I think it was a lot of Marcus Smart putting a body on him, picking him up from full court, and just getting in his way. And we think that SGA is probably he modeled his game after Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. There's no mistake about that. He's been saying that that's who he modeled his game of. And he got, I want to say he got locked down, but he got sort of contained. But the problem is when SGA went out of the game, whether it was fouls or whatever it was, that's when Oklahoma City went on the run. The bench came in and Oklahoma City went on their big runs in this series with SGA on the bench. And that is even more scarier than anything that I've ever seen.
AJ Mitchell is a dog. AJ Mitchell is a dog. And then they got another, I think they got him in the top. He was a top pick? I forgot.
I thought it was second round, was he?
Yeah, but he's a dog. It's like, because SGA plays his position. So he's coming off the bench and like doing his thing. So that's why it's almost like what we talked about when James Harden was in OKC, when they had Durant and Westbrook and stuff like that. Harden came off the bench and was doing the same thing. So it's like it seemed like they have a formula of how I know, because they talk just like Manu Ginobili when he played in the Spurs. He could have started for the Spurs, but he came off the bench. So it's like you got to have that tough conversation with people, because they're used to starting and all this stuff, but you bring more value off the bench because we don't have anybody else that can score like you. And AJ Mitchell, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in his career. So
OKC is sitting at home watching this Timberwolves and Spurs series, and they're kind of just resting up a little bit, and just for context, Oklahoma City is 8-0 in this playoffs. So they have not lost a game. Let's think about this. Oklahoma City, let me repeat that. Oklahoma City Thunder has not lost a game, all right, in this playoffs in 2 series. They've swept everyone, including the Lakers. And
they got 2 brooms out. They got 2 brooms out.
I mean, it's insane. So, this goes to my next question is, does LeBron James come back for his 23rd season? And if he does, with what team? See how I kind of go a little around there, and I said earlier that Cleveland might actually be in our next conversation too at some point during this podcast. So here we
You already
go.
know.
So, obviously we know that how important LeBron James is, but he's an unrestricted free agent this year. He is one of the greatest of all time, and it could be a debate whether he is one of the best all time. He's not the best Laker of all time, but you know what? LeBron James doing what he did at 41 years old this season, and even after the interview, he said in the interview that this is the first time in his career that he ever had to be the third option.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it was a tough thing, but he did what he did. And even when he was relegated to the first option, he was still able to be that guy and show leadership and stuff like that. And so when Luka Doncic hadn't played a playoff game and things, and he had to step up to the plate to be that number one guy again, he was able to flip a switch and do those types of things too. So, when we're looking at, what LeBron James' career is, he has an opportunity. And Rob Pelinka came on, he was interviewed, I want to say yesterday, and said that, all the great things he said about LeBron James and things of that nature. But you have, are the Lakers turning the page on LeBron James, or are they going to just let him determine whether or not he comes back? And if that happens, you have Reeves now, who is supposed to be, can Reeves and Luka, it's like a couple of part question here. Reeves and Luka, are they the future and then you move on from LeBron James? Or do you keep LeBron James, get rid of Reeves, and then run it back again? Because you getting swept with LeBron James there, but you didn't get to see how it would have been with Luka in the playoffs. So there's a lot of questions. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the hard part because, LeBron doesn't have a lot of time left, even though I feel like he can play 5 more years. All you got to do is switch positions, but like totally switch. But I feel like he should stay just because, like you said, they can run it back. But dealing with Luka, we don't know, is he going to get injured again? It's always that in the back of my mind. If I'm a player, I want to be able to trust the people, just like James Harden when he was with Kawhi Leonard. Like he didn't know when he was going to be there. He was like street clothes all the time. But with Luka, it's kind of hard because it's like he's a great player, like generational. He can be generational on the offensive side, but when it comes to playoffs and like his body's been strained. Luka's body's been strained since he was 14 years old. He's been playing basketball at a high level since 14. So
yeah,
a lot of people miss that too because he's been playing so long. He's equivalent to like a LeBron James in like longevity, how long he's been playing. Because a lot of people forget about those years before he came to the NBA.
At 14,
he was already a pro from 14.
That's crazy. So
when you think about all that, like it's not just his NBA career. You got to think about all the stress he put on his body because he used to like just bang on people when he was younger, like overseas anyway. It wasn't, but to answer the question, I feel like LeBron, if he does stay, it would be just to run it back to see what they can do. But I don't know how the contracts work with his contract. I thought he was in his last year in his contract. He's done. So I feel like only team that would give him the amount of money or like close to it is Cleveland because he can take a discount because he would want to go back home to retire. That'd be his last stop. That's what I think. But if you insert him into our team right now with what we have, like I feel like it's crazy. Nobody would beat us in the East. Let's say that nobody would beat us in the East if LeBron.
Yeah, to that, I don't think LeBron James can win a title because if he's coming back, he's coming to try to win a title, right? Because why else would you want to be coming back at his age? Unless he wants the farewell tour and all that, but he's not winning a title in LA. Let's just be honest. I mean, you have OKC, you have the Spurs, you have the Timberwolves. He's not getting past those teams in the playoffs. Even with a healthy Luka Doncic, they're not beating OKC because obviously they got swept, right? And they hadn't played OKC really well all season anyway. So they got a 40-point hung up. They got beat by 40 points against OKC even when all of them were there healthy, okay, and April 2nd, just so you know. So I don't want to hear about if Luka was there, they would have won the series. Maybe they would have won one game, and maybe it would have been a gentleman's sweep. But they're not beating OKC. They're not beating the Spurs. right? It doesn't matter. And you know what? Here's the thing. Reeves, now I think he's making what, 20 million or something like that. Are you paying Reeves this year? Are you paying Reeves 35, 40, 50 million? Because the Lakers only have so much cap space. So who are you getting rid of in order to make room for Reeves? Or are you trading Reeves for a bunch of draft picks and then bringing LeBron James back and getting assets for Reeves? Because he does have some value out there in the marketplace. People will pay for Reeves.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you say, that they got blew out when Luka was there and stuff like that. I get that, but that was during the season. Playoff basketball is different than the season basketball. 100% true there. So it's kind of hard to say that. It's easy to say what based off of what you saw during the season, they lost by 40. Okay, but playoff basketball is totally different. So because those referees are different, because you probably got the lower tier referee during that time. You get the top referees are in the NBA in the playoffs. So I don't know about the. I think if Luke was there, they would have won at least 2 games. At least I'll say that. Let's say at least 2 games.
Well, Jalen Williams. Okay, so Jalen Williams was hurt too for the OKC. He hadn't played that series too. So now you insert Jalen Williams in that OKC.
Well, no, I'm saying with all things the way they were for OKC. If you insert Luka, they win. They won.
Without
not even talking about Williams. Like, I'm just saying with the team they have is like. But
they don't win the series, but they win a game or so, a game or two, maybe.
Potentially winning the whole thing.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think it's not happening. Not happening. Okay, so
well, it's no way to prove it.
We can agree to disagree on that, but I think from what I'm looking at, LeBron James, I think he stays in LA. That's his lifestyle. That's where his family's at. He's been there for 8 years. People forget LeBron James been there for 8 years in LA. Right. And we can talk about whether he's got longevity and how he bounced around to different teams. He did Cleveland, he did the Miami thing to win some championship. He went back to Cleveland to win a championship for his home team. And then he went back to LA now for 8 years. But he's been in the league for a very, very long time. Right. He's been in the league for a very, very long time. And so he has it. When you start looking at how long he's been in the league, going and doing it. The only thing I can debate about LeBron James is how he went about winning his championships with the Miami. I can't debate him about anything what he did with Cleveland with bringing that championship back. But I don't really think that going back to Cleveland, if he went back to Cleveland, that puts Cleveland now in a really good position to run the East, to run it back. But I think they only got 1 year window, because I think LeBron James, if he goes back, it'll probably be one more season, and they would have to put everything into this team for Cleveland in order for them to win a championship with LeBron James, because I don't think he wants to play past for at least 1 more year.
Yeah, he would have to take a hometown discount, because I mean, if bringing on LeBron in it guts teams. Like it can take some 1 or 2 players away that are key to our team. But because his contract is up, so it's like he can go anywhere. That's why I say the only place he would probably do it is go to Cleveland or Golden State, because we talked about Golden State too, because what they have, and they have Porzingis at the center. They have some pieces that you insert him in there and bring Klay Thompson back.
I don't think you bring him back at all.
Get the Splash Brother back.
Nah, man. People don't like him no more. What he did with his relationship, I don't want to get into his relationship stuff.
They don't care about that, and they don't care about that in the Bay. They don't care about that in the Bay. Like
but it's interesting, because if the Bay Area, the Golden State, Steph Curry can get in LeBron James' ear. You got Jimmy Butler coming back off the knee injury. You got Draymond Green still there. You got it'd be like an old folks home, right? It'd be like an old folks home, really, because all of them are like 37, 38 years old. LeBron James is like the grand godfather that can still play and average 25 a night, 25, 6 and 6 a night. And then you got Steph Curry, but then you got a Jimmy Butler who can guard. You got a Porzingis that can play when he's healthy. And so you got a lot of other young talent that can shoot the ball coming off the bench. And you got Steve Kerr coming back. Okay, Steve Kerr is back now. He signed a 2-year extension Okay, a lot of people didn't think he was coming back, but he's coming back. One of the best coaches in NBA history, I would say, right? So I think he's coming back. Man, LeBron James in the Bay Area, that would turn the NBA upside down, because now you've got him with the greatest shooter that was ever created, as Stephen Smith say. And I kind of agree with him. And I don't think anybody else would kind of not agree with him on that.
I agree
But
with that.
and now you're bringing him into the fold with a Draymond Green, who's a monster on defense, and then you've got now, man, I would love to see that.
Yeah. When I was in the film industry, like this dude is legit. I'm gonna tell you a story. Like when I was in the film industry, I was doing like body double and stuff for Draymond Green. I did commercials with like Beats commercials and different things like that. I worked with Steph, Clay, Durant, and Draymond. I was Draymond's body double for a while before I started getting my own stuff. But even though we did, it was like a shoot for like, Muscle Milk or whatever, Verizon, whatever it was for. This dude was in there shooting his shots. Like he would train like every single time. But these guys in like the pickup gyms and stuff like that, they feel like they can do it because they see Steph Curry do it. No, he shoots all the time. So that's why his shot is always wet, because it's like muscle memory for him. He knows exactly how to dial in from wherever he's at. And he's hitting half courts, just shooting regular shots. He's at like half court, boom, every single time. So
which is crazy.
Yeah, he's one of the best I've ever seen in person shoot too. Like he's nasty.
Yeah. And so I would say that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that you said you were a body double for Draymond Green. This
is when in 2015 through like 17. And then I started getting my own Mercedes-Benz commercials and all that stuff, and the rest is history. So 2020 COVID messed my whole career up. I'm SAG eligible, but I stopped at 2020 and moved away from California. So
it's pretty interesting. I know your story too, so that's pretty cool. Also, I mean, you've done some other stuff too, NFL stuff with the Seattle Seahawks. So that's pretty cool. But what, you're like 6'7"?
Yeah, I did it for KJ Wright. I did a body double stuff for him. So, and he was happy to have somebody that was bigger than him, so he can look big on the TV on a jumbotron when the job I did for him. So yeah,
we have to show him. You have to bring up your photo that you got in the Seattle Seahawks uniform.
Oh yeah,
maybe we'll throw that on there on one of our podcasts to show you in the Seattle Seahawks uniform. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the draft lottery was there a couple nights ago, and you know what? All these teams that tanked, a lot of them, right? Everybody was tanking. The Wizards was the number one tanking team. Utah was right behind them. And next thing you know, the Wizards, they bring in, they get the number one pick. The Washington Wizards get the number one pick. And so it's kind of funny. I know you texted me when it happened because I didn't see it live.
You got to say that's your team, right? Did you say that? I didn't hear you say it.
Yeah, I've known to be a Wizards guy, right? I've known to be a Wizards guy, and but it's funny because John Wall was representing the Wizards. He was their last number one pick in 2010, and the Washington Wizards. And after we got the number one pick, John Wall was quoted as kind of saying like, "You bring in a number one pick, you get a number one pick." Now that was cool, right? He's like, he was a matter of fact about you bringing a number one pick to represent you, you get a number one pick. So John Wall helps get the number one pick, and maybe bring some of the lucky fortunes back to the Wizards team. They're an awful, awful team. Let's just get this straight. But they have a lot of talent. They've been stocking talent now for like the last 3 or 4 years. It kind of reminds me of the OKC way of doing things because, one of their executives is from OKC. Keith, their coach, was on the staff of OKC. So, now are we going to see the Washington Wizards now that they've got Trae Young, they got Anthony Davis. Now they're going to look to see who they're going to get for the number one pick. AJ DeBosta is the from BYU, 6'9" guy. He could be the number one pick. Some people are saying, it could be Darren Peterson too, or, Cameron Boozer, any of these guys. But I'm going to tell you right now, you got Utah sitting there. Okay, Tony. Utah was bought Nebraska to they paid, his NIL money to BYU to be able to bring the Banska to Utah. So Utah now has the number 2 pick, and they're licking their chops and hoping that the Wizards don't get the Bansta so they can go and get the Bansta, which I think the Bansta has he's a safe pick, but I think he has all the tools. Outside shot, shoot the 3, get his own shot, handle in the lane, dunking, spectacular. And I think they got to take him. I don't care about Peterson and everything with 6'4.5" and doing all this stuff. Go get this guy for the Wizards and do not trade him to Utah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many players in this draft, so it's kind of hard to know who's going to go first. It depends on what the Wizard really need. Like, do you feel like he can be a pinnacle piece of your team? Like, if that's the case, then you got to take him.
I think he's an elite scorer. I mean, his athleticism. I mean, his wingspan is crazy. Elite scorer. He can get his own shot. He's durable. I mean, he never wants to come out of a game. He can play 40 minutes in college without coming out the game. And so the guy is just, I think his upside is really good. Darren Peterson, he's a skilled guard. He's really, really good, top tier talent, offensive upside. He's an elite scorer from the perimeter. But I think that when you start looking at, who that would fit for the Wizards, a wing guy that's 6'9" that you can insert in the game with the Anthony Davis, Alex Sarr, and then you've got some other pieces there with Trae Young, with the threat from the outside, can get his own shot. Now you got an elite scorer on the wing. And remember, he's only 19 years old. So this is a big deal for the Wizards. I think that, man, it's so much talent there. You got Darius Cuff out there, Jr. from Arkansas.
I was just about to say that,
Yeah, so Tony, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, Acuff is a sleeper of the draft. I mean, even though he's in the lottery, so it's not really a sleeper, but in order I feel like he should be in the top 3. But when you got the names of Boozer, Peterson, and AJ, it's kind of hard to a team to take that because he's 6'3", and all those guys are bigger, 6'9", 6'6", and then you got Boozer at 6'9" too. So it's kind of hard to break into that, when you got all this talent in this draft. I feel like this is going to be a big time draft. It's going to be like one of the old school drafts back in the day when, I guess when Jordan and all those guys came out, when a lot of top talent came out, and it's going to set the NBA for the future and stuff like that. So
if I'm the Wizards, I'm taking the Banska, or somebody's got to come up and give me a lot. If even if the Utah Jazz want to come up one spot, they got to give me some. They got to give me some players. They got to give me a lot because I know the Utah Jazz want them, and just because I know you guys want them, I need a king's ransom. Even Giannis, quite frankly. They said Giannis is out there on the trade, and they looking for to get Milwaukee's looking to trade him. Is he worth a number 1 pick?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. I just don't know if they want Giannis and all his brothers to come show up.
I'll take his brother on the team just to sit on the bench if I got Giannis. If I got Giannis, I'm signing his brother too. But the number 1 pick for Giannis. Hey, let's do a straight up trade. Giannis come to the Wizards, number 1 pick. That puts Wizards in another position. I mean, you got AD there. You've got Giannis. You've got Sarr. Maybe you're too heavy. Maybe you trade AD. Somebody out there is going to give you at least a late first for AD.
I think you need a taller ball handler. I mean, I know that I know Trae Young is good, but it's like he's suspect on defensive side, and he's really small. So that's the only part that the soft spot in in the Wizards offense to me.
They got other guys that can come in and play point guard. They're deep. They're they got other guys that can come in.
But you can't put Trae Young at shooting guard because he's a liability. All these big guard, like 2 guards, like you can't put him at the 2 and expect him to guard.
But maybe that's a problem in the playoffs. But Trae Young, he has to stay healthy. right? He's a smaller guard, but he's prolific, scorer. He's a good, really good point guard. And so, I think that the Wizards can do very, very well this year. But I still think, having AD on your team, I don't think is ever really a good thing because he doesn't play well. Also, we got a little time here. I think, Embiid, been some stuff surrounding him and his new contract. His extension goes into effect the next season for the next 3 years. They're paying him over $180 million, $190 million, 3 years, $190 million, $64 million a year for a guy who hasn't played 40 games in the last 3 seasons. He hasn't played over 40 games in the last 3 seasons, Joel Embiid, and now he's got this big contract coming up. What do you think about that, Tony, when you have a Joel Embiid? We always say, oh, we can't talk about nobody's money. But, yeah, I am definitely looking at this because Josh Harris, the owner of the 76ers, he also is the owner of my team, the Washington Commanders, too. And that's really the only reason why I'm kind of interested on how he does business outside the NBA. And plus, he owns a hockey team, too, the New Jersey Devils, and the Commanders, the Devils, and the 76ers. And, of course, Morey, he got fired today, and rightfully so, right? But you got whoever got this contract with a Joel Embiid extension for 3 years, $190 million, and you got this guy on your team that haven't played more than 40 games in the last 3 seasons. He's always hurt, and then he gets on after he gets beat up by the Knicks the way they did and at home, and then he gets on there and say, he's happy about this season, the way this season went and everything because of his personal health that he got back on the court and this and that. And now you're going to pay this guy $64 million a year over the next 3 seasons. And, he doesn't even get past 40 games. What do you think about that?
All of that is what I'm going to piggyback off of that. That's all true. And that's how I feel as well. But the main thing is you can see that the 76ers play better when he's off the court.
Yep.
Because they can speed the game up. When you bring him in the game, it slows everything down. And they have to slow down and wait for him to get, it's like, I know I like the big man being in the game, but at the same time, I don't think he takes care of his body well. I don't know what it is because he's always hurt. I mean, he has a bigger frame too. So I feel like he needs to lose 20, 30 pounds. But yeah, I don't know how his diet is and stuff like that. If he cut weight, just like Tim Duncan did. Tim Duncan was a bigger guy. He lost weight and prolonged his career, and he played a lot better because he had the less weight on his knees and stuff like that. I feel like he needs to cut down like Luka did. Same thing Luka did, but he got hurt too. But yeah, I feel like that contract is going to hinder them a little more, just like we said, talk about the Watson contract. But I feel like you got to it's time to let Maxey take over. Now you got VJ, Jacob, whatever, how you pronounce his name, the second, the shooting guard. You got these young guys ready to take over. Let these guys take over and just be just find a way to trade them, do something. I mean, I don't know what to say, but.
Yeah, I think that there's really nothing they can do with that contract because somebody's gonna have to give up a number 1 pick just to take on that contract or something. But I think that Embiid, I think you got to find a way to get him off, and maybe he needs a change. Maybe Embiid needs to change the scenery too, instead of being in Philly where it's all hot and heavy over there. And I think that maybe a change can help him also too. But first of all, he has to stay on the court. And he hasn't been able to do that, paying the guy $64 million a year. I think that, I thought Bradley Beal's contract was the worst contract in NBA history when that happened and the Wizards gave him that money and traded him over to Phoenix. And I was thinking God above that Phoenix took off the contract so the Wizards can move forward and be in a position like they are now. And I said that contract was horrible. Now, this one here just might be worse.
No, I still think Bill one is worse because he don't play either. He don't play either. So he played way less than Embiid played. I feel like Embiid has more upside to me, but that Bill contract
was crazy.
Yeah, that's still the worst to me.
What'd you say? What'd you say? Stealing money? What's your saying? Stealing money?
Stealing money. It's a guy that I follow on TikTok. He said he always saying steal. He shows like college football players making all these like $5 million and they can't even throw over 120 yards in passing in the game. So he's always saying stealing money because all this NIL stuff. So
yeah,
it's funny,
yeah. And so these contracts are crazy. They're getting outrageous. A lot of people are stealing money out there when you really look at it. Now, I don't fault them for making the money, but if you're going to give somebody a contract, part of it is that these executives are miscalculating big time by paying these players $64 million a year, and they can't even play half a season.
I mean, it comes down to, are the agents good or are the business people bad? Like, because they say, oh, that agent got them the bag. They always give kudos to the agent, but it's like, is the organization bad because they just throwing money out for like players that are like going on a downcline? I don't know. But the new TV deals and stuff like that, I think the money goes up because of all that stuff. So it's kind of hard to, it's a part of being an NBA. I wish I was there.
Yeah. All right, my friend, we're winding down here. A few more minutes left. I'm going to give you the last word. So, who wins tonight's game? Not with your heart. Don't say it with your heart. Say it just how you feel. That what does Cleveland have to do to win tonight's game? And if they don't do it, do you feel that they'll still be able to win?
What Cleveland got to do, they just got to make sure they do the same thing they did his last game, and they have to play. They have to travel well. That's been the issue. Like these teams, both sides, Detroit and Cleveland. Cleveland has to travel well in this game in order for us to win in Game 6 at home. Like, we have to travel well, do the same thing, come out firing on all cylinders. I know we're gonna have the crowd noise in the background. Like, it's different when you're on the road, but I've been there before.
Well, Cleveland's not too far from Detroit. Are the fans going to take over the arena? I doubt it.
We're gonna have fans there, but I don't know. I'm sure they're gonna try to make sure that we don't have enough tickets to buy. So, but yeah, they have to Harden and it starts with Harden and Mitchell. Like we already know, like everybody's saying it. Like, it starts with those two guys. As long as those two guys get everything going and get the bigs involved too, you got to get them bigs involved early. Both Mitchell and them they got to do some 2-man game with the bigs just to get them the ball touched in the middle of two as well, because it forces them, Detroit, to have to like honor everything.
Yeah.
You can't just when you just have Harden just doing the one-on-one game, that's good at certain points of the game. You can't always do that because he gets tired. So get the bigs going early. Then you can get off, because as soon as you start doing screen and roll, that shot gonna open up because they're gonna start sagging down because they know you're gonna try and throw the lob or whatever. They're gonna try to steal it or whatever. Now you got multiple options. You can shoot the J, you can drive to the hole, you can get to the line. So there's so many different ways to do it, but they have to do it themselves. They have to show up and show out. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, you're going to have a big national audience because this is the only game I think on tonight from the NBA.
Yeah.
All the other series are pretty much, the two series are gone. So this is going to be the only game tonight. So a lot of people around the country are going to be watching this game. I'll be watching. I'm not sure if I'm going to tune in right away because the games don't really get good until like second half anyway. But I'm going to be watching this game. We'll see what the Cleveland Cavaliers can do. We're going to wrap things up today, my friend. Thank you for joining us on the Chasing the Highlights podcast. My name is Lonnie Washington, and my friend Tony Robinson is there. We'll see you next week.
Come alive, 2X players in the studio, ready to thrive. Friends and fans, uniting with the truth, sharing the passion, yeah, that's our proof. Chasing the highlights, where dreams come alive. 2X players in the studio, ready to thrive. Friends and fans, uniting with the truth, sharing the passion, yeah, that's our proof. We treasure the legend.